Hi guys, today we will together study the transpiration in plants, and in this topic we will learn about transpiration, how transpiration causes water to move up xylem vessels, how the water are transported, and the factors that affect the transpiration rate. There are some factors which affect the direct transpiration rate, and why the wilting occurs when the plant cannot take enough level of water, and how the plants take minerals from soil and transport to the other part of it. And in this topic, there are some keywords which are important. You should to know this. These are transpiration, stream, cohesion, photometer, and flaccid. Now, let's look first at transpiration. The general meaning of the transpiration, it's a evaporation of the water from plants to air. This is called transpiration. And let's look closer for this. Here are image of the plant. And the plant takes water from soil. After that, these water are transported to the other parts of the plant through with the helping of the stem. And let's look the inside of the soil. Now, actually in here in soil there is high water potential. There is high amount of water in soil, and inside of the root hair cells there are high level of the minerals and less amount of water. Because of this, water from soil to root moves by water molecules move by themselves with osmosis. And in here the root hairs increase the absorption surface area. And after that, water enter to the xylem vessels, which transport water and mineral. And these xylem vessels transport water to other part of plants through the stem. And in here now, inside of the xylem vessels, water molecules always stick together. This is called cohesion. Why the water molecules stick together? Now this is the force of the cohesion. Because of the cohesion, one water molecule stick to another one and pull up. And also water molecules able to stick the wall of the xylem. It's called adhesion. And then water molecules are transported to the leaves, and the leaf structure. On the both upper and the lower side of the leaves, there's the epidermis layer, one single cell layer, and then middle layer is a mesophyll cells, and especially on the epidermis layer, there's a high level of the stomata, especially in the lower side, and in the mesophyll cells, there's a two type of the cells. One of them is a palisade. And the other one are sponge cells. And look at here how the transpiration occurs. Water molecules diffuse through the stomata in the form of vapor, and when the water vapor diffuse here, around these cells, there's a high level of the surface, on the surface of the cells, there's a high level of the wet places. These are wet film of water. And this wet film of water move to these free places, and it causes water moving of the water from xylem to this cell surface to replace the evaporated water molecules, and it causes tension. Now this causes the tension to pull the water molecules from xylem 2 cells. And because of this station, the other water molecules move through the stem to leaves, and it also would pull the water from root. And here's also a leaf. And when the water molecules diffuse out, it causes less water potential inside of the leaf, and it decreases the effective water pressure in leaf, and so that the water molecules flow up it, and it's called what? Transpiration stream. And now, how we measure the transpiration of the water? Actually, we cannot able to measure the transpiration according to evaporation, but easily with using the potentiometer, we are able to measure the transpiration rate. How? Now look at here. Here's one example for the potentiometer. There's so many different kind of modification in this potentiometer, but the working system is identical. Let's look here. Here's a capillary tube, and in one end of the potentiometer, there's a cut shoot of the plant is fixed in here. Here's a photoreservoir, and here's a capillary tube. Here's a volume scale, and in this part has what? Air bubble. Here's a beaker of the water. And with using the potentiometer, we are able to measure the respiration rate, because when the water are evaporated from leaves, it actually what? Absorb the water through the stem in here. And when the plant takes water from here, here's the air bubble moves. In a certain period, according to moving of the air bubble, we can measure the amount of water in potentiometer. Now here's a reservoir, and with using it was opening and the closing of this reservoir water, we can regulate the air bubble to the set point, and then we can measure the evaporation of the water in here. It's a function of the, okay. Let's pass the factors which affect the transpiration rate. There are some factors which are important in transpiration. One of them is the temperature. Now, in a hot day, water evaporates quickly, and it means what? When the temperature increases, the transpiration rate also increase. And the second one, wind speed. In a windy day, the water also evaporates quickly than the still day. Because of this, the transpiration rate increase when the wind speed increase. The humidity. What's humidity? Now, it's a moisture amount of the air. And if air has high level of the humidity, the transpiration rate will decrease. That's why the humidity of the atmosphere is always important in transpiration. And light intensity. In a bright light, the leaves open their stomach and to take more carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. At this time, when the stomata opens, the water also evaporate, and it directly affects the transpiration rate. And water supply, if plants uh, if plants take more water, not more the water evaporate, but if there's less water, the less amount of water, it cuts the transpiration rate, because if there's less water, there's less pressure inside of the plant, and it causes less transpiration. And actually the transpiration is always important for the plant, because when the plants transpirate, it causes cooling of the leaves. It causes cooling. And also because of the transpiration, the minerals and the other organic substances are circulated inside of the plants between the different organs. But if there is more evaporation occurs, and what will happen? Now, at this time, the root maybe cannot supply enough level of the water for the organs of the plant, and at this time the plant lose more water, and their cells become flaccid, and it causes wilting plant. It's a normal plant, it's a wilting plant. And here's the flaccid. Now, because of the flaccid, there's less water amount, and there's less water pressure. And if there's less water pressure, plants cannot keep their normal shape, especially in a green parts. In a woody plants, a plant can stay because they have what lignin and the cell wall, lignified cell wall, and they can stay. But if you look their leaves, the leaves also maybe wilting when the water is not enough. And how plants take the ions from soil? Now, look at here. Here's the plant root hair cells, and inside of the plant cells, there's high amount of the ions, and there's less ion in soil, but plants need these ions and minerals. That's why they use some energy to take ions against the concentration rate, and it's called active transport. By using the energy with the active transport, plant takes ion. Okay, let's explanation of our topic has finished. Now let's look the review questions. What is transpiration? The general meaning, it's a evaporation of the water from plants to air. And what are stomata? Stomata are the pores which are located on the leaves, and it helps to exchange material between the leaves and environment. Through the stomata, plant takes carbon dioxide, also give oxygen, and also through the stomata, water evaporates. What is a potentiometer used for? It's used to measure the transpiration rate. It's an instrument that is used to measure the transpiration rate. Explain how the temperature and the humidity affect the transpiration rate. Now, when the temperature increases, what transpiration rate also increase, because there's more water are converted to the vapor, and they diffuse through the stoma. And in humidity, if the atmospheric humidity is high, there's less water evaporation. It decreases the transpiration rate. If there is there's less amount of the humidity, the transpiration rate will increase. How plants take up ions with active transport. Okay, our topic has finished. See you